My next blog is about how to make a worm bin. What I've done is I've moved my worms from this old bin to a new one, but I want to show you the bin that I use. I'm using a plastic container that's dark. It can't be opaque because they don't like the light. And I've drilled holes in it in the top, a little bit smaller than the size of my little finger for air for them. And the bottom has holes as well for drainage. This bin actually has a few holes in the side too. You want the worms to be moist, but you don't want them to be drowning, so you need a pretty good drainage system. Once I've filled this with bedding, I rest it on an old plastic bin top on top of 2x4s so that any juice from inside this, any extra water or worm pee, will float out into the bottom. And if you can see how messy this is from being used for a year or two, you'll know why it's important to have this catch-all. This is my bedding material, and I use old cardboard boxes, but I pull off as much as I can of the label. The worms will actually eat right up to the edge of it, but it's better to get it out of there. Egg cartons are awesome. This is another box that I'll pull off this extra tape and throw it away. And then I also add leaves that I saved from the fall, and I'm going to layer that in between the wet cardboard, and we're going to show you that in just a minute. Is just getting this cardboard wet that I'm going to use for bedding, so the egg cartons soak up the water really fast, and the cardboard boxes. I only use these materials. I don't use any dirt. So I take my wet cardboard and I make it about a big sloppy hands full size, like that, and I wring out any extra water. These need to be soaked through too, so that you actually are sure that the inside is as wet as the outside, because the worms like it in there. This is just regular brown paper, which I'm also going to get wet, wring out any excess water, and just drop in the bucket. I do not use white shredded office paper. They apparently bleach the paper and the worms object to the bleach. And then I layer the whole thing with just some strips of dry newspaper. I wring out another chunk of cardboard and drop it in. And I do this until I have the worm bedding as high as I want. I usually go quite high because it doesn't take long before this is compressed down. After the newspaper, I'm adding another layer of wrung out cardboard and egg crate boxes. And then I'm going to add something the worms think is lovely that I saved from the fall, and that's leaves instead of newspaper this time. It doesn't matter if you don't have them, but they're nice if you do because the worms seem to like them quite a bit. So lasagna style, then I'll add more wet cardboard, more leaves or newspaper, more wet cardboard until I have it as high as I want it. Since these leaves are really dry now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little bit of water on the top, and that just makes sure that my bedding isn't too dry for the worms. Then you can put your new worms right on the top of this, give them a little food, and let them do their thing. So after your new worms are in here that you've had somebody give to you if you're lucky, or you bought from a vermiculture store, then you can cover the whole thing with your lid with the holes in the top for plenty of ventilation, and that is it. This is the new bin that I just showed you, and I have just moved my worms into the next bin after cleaning out the worm castings. This is the manure that you're trying to get for your garden, and you can see the chunks of newspaper with plenty of worms in it.
Hold the hand up close.
This will take a couple of months for them to actually consume all of this cardboard, and of course you have to feed them too, and that will be my next blog. Thank you.